I was just reading this article, and I've definitely thought of this too. Um, with like Lightroom and Photoshop getting so many, like moving towards AI so
Yeah.
much more.
Yeah.
One thing that we don't have really is like a way to remove dust with AI, right? And this article was kind of making a good point. I mean, to be fair, he kind of says in it, like, I don't really know much about AI, so maybe I'm just tripping, which is probably the same boat we're going to be in. But, like you can do sky replacements. You can do like, even if you're using like, what's it called? Luminar AI, it literally can do like everything
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So like, is it that hard for them to make that feature? Like, I wouldn't expect it to be perfect, and I wouldn't expect it to work on every photo. But if you had like a photo with like, I don't know, sensor dust or something, would it be able to detect that? Wouldn't it be able to detect that and take that out?
I
And
would
then you
guess,
can just
yeah.
edit it after the fact?
I'm guessing yes. Eventually, it's gonna be a thing. Because
It
like
has to be.
all the AI is just it's a lot like a human, right? Like
Yeah.
but it's very specific to what it can do, right? So you teach it what to look for
Mm-hmm.
manually, which that's the long part. You have to teach it,
Yep.
and then it can start doing it by itself more and more, right? So if you keep showing it a bunch of images with sensor dust, and then you show it exactly what the sensor where it is, and then what to
Yeah.
do with it. I mean, there's no reason that AI would be able to do it later or in the future.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because like right now, Photoshop has a dedust feature, but it kind of just softens it.
Oh,
And
uh-huh.
it's not bad in some cases if you use it right. It can help to get rid of some of that. Like if you like shot a product, for example, like I use it at work all the time, because if you look at like a black shoe, sometimes it's just like dust, right?
Yeah,
And it'll
yeah,
take forever to go through every photo and get rid of dust, like basically on the whole shoe.
yeah,
So I use dedust, and it gets rid of like the bigger chunks, and then I can like, sorry, it gets rid of the smaller chunks. It makes the bigger chunks smaller. That's what I should say. And then I can get rid of them myself. So
hmm,
it's still a good amount of work for me, and it's to the point where it's not like actually softening up the image, but if you were to use it, like turn it up more, then the texture starts to soften on like the shoe.
hmm,
And at that point it's not good. But
yeah,
that's also not like an AI thing. It's just kind of like using, like when you use a sharp, like unsharp mask, and you tell it like the radius and, like threshold. So you want it to sharpen pixels this big. So it's the same kind of premise, but instead of sharpening, it's, I guess, just softening.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, who
So
knows?
I
Like
don't know.
AI is gonna be the future. Like it's where it's all going.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I don't know. I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. Because I like, with some stuff, I like it. Like, for example, that would be very nice to just click and then it just removes a bunch of dust for me. Beautiful. Love it.
mhm.
But like, I don't know. I feel like if you like use something like Luminar AI, it's like too much. Like, I like to play with the image a bit myself
Mhm.
and do stuff without the AI. But I don't know. I guess that saves time too. So,
Yeah. MKBHD actually, I just watched his video on. Uh, it's like a very similar topic where people people today want to take a photo on their phone
mm-hmm.
and post it onto social media and have like a good enough. Sorry, I said that completely wrong. They want to take a photo on their phone and have a good
Yep.
enough image to post instantly onto
Right.
Instagram or wherever,
Right.
right? And that's why like cameras on your phone are getting so good,
Yeah.
but they're also kind of doing some weird computational stuff. especially like the HDR stuff. That's new.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, it is how we would do it, right? With our DSLRs, we would just take a bunch of shots and then combine it later in Photoshop and like, properly expose everything. But like the phone does it all by itself. It takes like 10 different shots, like 10 different exposures, puts it all together all by itself already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all going that way.
It really is. I don't know. I totally was going to add something to that, and now I just lost my train of thought. Classic Nick. Shoot. Dang it. I was going to say... What was I going to say?
It's got
Okay, I lost
AI.
it. Whatever, it's gone. It was something... Yeah, it was something to do with AI and phones. Oh, I was going to say, like... I mean, I guess to be fair, our phones are doing technically some editing when they do something like that with an HDR, but like even with our DSLRs, it's not to a point where we just take a photo and it's perfect. You can get a really good photo in your camera, but you can almost always make it better when you edit. So to be able to like to expect that with your phone you're going to take a photo and it's just going to be like perfect, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. But but we're different, like we're photographers and we want that control. There's a lot of people out there that just want to snap a photo on their phone. They don't care and they just want it to go. Actually, MKBHD mentioned that I think on a Huawei device or some of their phones, I'm not 100% sure if that's the right phone, but one of the Android phones.
Yep.
If you went to go take a photo of the moon and you would zoom all the way in using its like the telephoto zoom cameras now that are on the phones,
right,
it would switch to moon mode, or it would like suggest like, hey, do you want to go into moon mode? And then it would expose the moon really nicely every time.
Dang.
So what people are thinking is that it just takes a photo of the moon, a properly exposed one, and just superimposes it onto your image.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Bruh. I mean, impressive too, though.
Yeah, because
if
it works.
It's doing it like well, and you can't tell.
Like you can't, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in like Canada or if you're in China. Like the moon looks the same wherever you are in the world.
Because it's always the same side of the moon we're seeing. It's
exactly
because it's rotating around us.
Yes.
Yeah. so every photo of the moon is basically the same.
Yes.
Essentially, just the actual like stars, clouds is what's different.
Yes.
And how zoomed in the lenses.
Yeah.
But dang. Also, moon mode just sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
No, please don't moon me.
Yeah. I hope your phone's not doing that to you.
What if it just put a picture of that instead?
Oh.
Boom. Get mooned.